Today is August 10th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are going to read a little bit more about alcoholism, page 30, the second half of it. And out of the 12 and 12, we're going to continue our journey through step 5 by reading page 57. And of course, we'll read today's daily reflections in 24 hours a day. So with that, I hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. Life is good over here. We've been in a brand new set of 24 hours, clean slate. Just the fact that we're alive today is something to celebrate. And if we're sober, holy cow. What a miracle. And if you're not sober, my friend, here's a great, brand new, fresh day to start your whole new life. It's just one day at a time, one step at a time. So let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. Out of the Big Book, we're on chapter 3, more about alcoholism. We'll be reading the last 2 paragraphs of page 30. We alcoholics are men and women who've lost the ability to control our drinking. We know that no real alcoholic ever recovers control. All of us felt at times that we were regaining control, but such intervals, usually brief, were inevitably followed by still less control, which led in time to pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. We are convinced to a man that alcoholics of our type are in the grip of a progressive illness. Over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. We are like men who have lost their legs. They never grow new ones. Neither does there appear to be any kind of treatment which will make alcoholics of our kind like any other men. We've tried every imaginable remedy. In some instances, there's been brief recovery, followed always by a still worse relapse. Physicians who are familiar with alcoholism agree that there is no such thing as making a normal drinker out of an alcoholic. Science may yet one day accomplish this, but it hasn't done so yet. Moving on to the 12 and 12, we're on step 5. Admit to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. We are on page 57 today. What are we likely to receive from step 5? For one thing, we shall get rid of that terrible sense of isolation that we have always had. Almost without exception, alcoholics are tortured by loneliness. Even before our drinking got bad and people began to cut us off, nearly all of us suffered the feeling that we didn't quite belong. Either we were shy and dared not draw near others, or we were apt to be noisy goodfellows craving attention and companionship, but never getting it, at least to our way of thinking. There was always that mysterious barrier that we could neither surmount nor understand. It was as if we were actors on a stage, suddenly realizing that we did not know a single line of our parts. That's one reason we loved alcohol too well. It did let us act extemporaneously, but even back us boomeranged on us, and we were finally struck down and left in terrified loneliness. When we reached AA, and for the first time in our lives stood among people who seemed to understand, the sense of belonging was tremendously exciting. We thought the isolation problem had been solved. But we soon discovered that while we weren't alone anymore in a social sense, we still suffered many of the old pangs of anxious apartness. Until we had talked with complete candor of our conflicts and listened to someone else do the same thing, we still didn't belong. Step 5 was the answer. It was the beginning of true kinship with man and God. Daily Reflections, August 10th. Redoubling our efforts. To agree, he has already done this when taking moral inventory. But now the time has come when he ought to redouble his efforts to see how many people he has hurt, and in what ways. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 77. As I continue to grow in sobriety, I become more aware of myself as a person of worth. In the process, I am better able to see others as persons. And with this comes the realization that these were people whom I had hurt in my drinking days. I didn't just lie. I lied about Tom. I didn't just cheat. I cheated Joe. What were seemingly impersonal acts were really personal affronts, because it was people of worth, whom I'd harmed. I need to do something about the people I have hurt, so that I may enjoy a peaceful sobriety. "24 hours a day, August 12th. AA thought for the day. There was nothing left for us but to pick up the simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet by Alcoholics Anonymous. By doing so, we have had a spiritual experience which revolutionizes our whole attitude toward life, toward others, and toward God's universe. The central fact of our lives today is the absolute certainty that our Creator entered into our hearts and lives there in a way which is indeed miraculous. He has commenced to accomplish those things for us which we could never do for ourselves. Have I let God come into my life? Meditation for the day. The moment a thing seems wrong to you, or a person's actions to be not what you think they should be, at that moment begins your obligation and responsibility to pray for those wrongs to be righted, or that person to be changed. What is wrong in your surroundings or in the people you know? Think about these things and make these matters your responsibility. Not to interfere or be a busybody, but to pray that a change may come through your influence. You may see lives altered and evils banished in time. You can become a force for good wherever you are. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may be a co-worker with God. I pray that I may help people by my example. All right, my friends, going back to the 12 and 12, man, some great stuff once again. And I can relate, and maybe somebody else out there can relate too. Even before our drinking got bad and people began to cut us off, nearly all of us suffered that feeling that we didn't quite belong. Anyone else feel that way? I've been there. So as the reading says today, finally we make our way to the rooms, the fellowships, and wow, we feel like we finally belong somewhere, and that is an incredible feeling. And I said something the other day, and I hope it didn't come across this way, but I said that I attended some fellowships, but I said it in a past tense because I was talking about my past experience, my first days in early sobriety. But I didn't want that to come across like I still don't go. I go as many times as I can because I want to, because I love going to the fellowships and the support I get. I mean, I feel like I have a family. But as it says down here, but we soon discovered that while we weren't alone anymore in a social sense, we still suffered many of the old pangs of anxious apartness. Until we had talked with a complete candor of our conflicts, we listened to someone else do the same thing, we still didn't belong. It wasn't until again, as I said yesterday, until I did that fifth step. And I really started dealing with these things honestly, that I was wrestling with another human being and praying about it. That's when I really felt free. When I feel free, when I feel part of something that's much bigger than myself, it's very empowering. And it says here, step 5 was the answer. It was the beginning of a true kinship with man and God. I have never felt closer to my higher power than through stumbling into the doors of these fellowships and learning about this beautiful program of daily living. It's truly life-changing. But anyways, I've rambled on enough, my friends. I hope you all have a great day today. Truly, as one of the readings we read today, I think it was the Daily Reflections. Or excuse me, no, it was the 24 hours a day, the beginning of it. Truly, we're miracles if we're sober today. And I hope that you realize that I'm proud of you, because I know the struggle. And I'm sure those who love you are very proud of you as well. For giving another set of 24 hours, my friends, I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.